Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with some more Warhammer 3 news. This time another blog post, but a lengthy one as it covers the faction mechanics for both Greasus and Skrag. Yep, we're covering both in the same video. We're going to find out how they play, what they do and where they start, so let's not waste any more time and jump right in because there's a lot to talk about. We're actually going to start off with something pretty cool, a in-game screenshot with the faction selection screen of the Ogre Kingdoms, and more specifically that of Greasus Goldtooth. What's important to note here is we have faction effects and lord effects. We're going to cover them now, but keep in mind that this is still a game in development, so it could change. So the faction effects are as follows: Diplomatic Relations plus 20 with Ogre Kingdoms, Income from Trade plus 25%, and Unit Mass plus 25%. Oh, okay, so Greasus's ogres will be even more fatter, essentially. I must admit that that was actually a really surprising faction effect, so yeah, they caught us all off guard. So let's move on now to the Lord effects. Income from raiding plus 50% for Lord's army. Upkeep minus 50% for Iron Gut units in Lord's army. And income from sacking and looting settlements plus 50% for Lord's army. After looking at that, it's likely things could change because plus 50% for a lot of things seems a bit much. But hey, you never know. Though it might be said because they're outright stating it here when it comes to the actual information here. So let's actually discuss the faction effects first. And you thought ogres were nothing but warmongers. The key to ogre play, particularly as Greasus, is to make the right friends at the right times, so you can focus your attention elsewhere. Naturally, the end goal of Ogre Kingdom's diplomacy is to confederate all under the Over-Tyrant and form an everlasting empire. The bonuses to trade help when dealing with the Cathayan factions on your borders and keeping that massive nation happy, either for all time or until you're ready. Worth renoting here, as it's the most relevant for Greasus and the other Eastern Ogre tribes, that they are neutral in world politics. They're as happy to work with and for demon factions as anyone else, so long as the grub's good. While demons do not trade, no concept of money will do that to you, they can still make pacts of various kinds. Okay, so the ogres are able to ally up with the demons, which is perfectly fine. It kind of makes sense with the lore, as the ogres themselves are a neutral race in Warhammer Fantasy alignment. And lastly, unit mass is a unit stat that isn't often exposed in tooltips, but it is very valuable and will be more visible in Warhammer 3. It is part of the calculations for the results of unit collisions due to charges, and most directly determines whether a unit is knocked back, down, or sent flying. A higher unit mass, especially for a faction with such bias towards charging as ogres, is going to disrupt enemy factions more efficiently and cause more damage. Far from a simple joke about the most rotund race in the Warhammer world, this buff is likely the deadliest they could receive. I'm really excited to see what this actually does when we can compare both ogre factions, and not only that, but I'm assuming that this will now be easier in the modding tools for modders to work around with. We're gonna have to wait and see, but it does sound quite exciting. Now let's look at the description for his legendary lord effects themselves. Greasus continues his focus on greed and wealth, especially from the destruction of his enemies. While he is a genius statesman for an ogre, when it comes to diplomatic relations and trade, he's equally adept at taking what he wants when he wants it. Worth remembering how ogre settlements work for both these first two buffs. Ogre camps are constantly raiding the region they're in, if it's in enemy territory of course. This is done with the sizable garrison army and can translate into a significant income with the right targets. In addition, with their weak primary settlements, repeatedly sacking or razing rather than taking them, particularly provincial capitals, is an even more enticing prospect. A 50% increase is nothing to sniff at, and could easily take sack rewards into the 5 figures. Okay, so yeah, it's going to stay here with a 5. I'm imagining many people will have sack cities at Lothan just to take advantage of this. The last paragraph goes as follows: Iron Guts, being the fattest and burliest ogres around, as well as an excellent tier 3 unit, are Greasus's signature troops. Combine the bonuses by stocking your camps with Iron Guts to have them raiding. Okay, that's not a bad idea too, and I myself am quite interested in how the Iron Guts are going to work, so this is probably going to be something good for me. Next we have an in-game screenshot of Greasus' skill tree, and while we don't really get a lot here, as obviously it's not going to show us skills and so on, barring one, which is Over-Tyrant, it does look big enough, and we can obviously see that he has a unique skill line too, but then again we're expecting that with everyone, and we've got some stats, though again, work in development, so we don't know if these are going to be the final ones or not. We do have a little bit of information, so let's cover that. Greasus has a great skill tree with some extra options on top of the Tyrant set. His position at the very top of Ogre Society gives additional boons in all the right places, 4 sequential skills, all available from the start, and named for Greasus's many legendary titles, giving significant bonuses. Tribe Stealer. Large buffs to Ogre Kingdom relations, and melee and weapon strength while fighting them. Okay, that's pretty cool. Goldtooth, big buff to leadership and armor for Greasus' army. Drake Crush, bonus damage versus large. And finally Overtyrant, additional casualty replenishment, recruit rank, and local recruit capacity for Greasus' army. These are really interesting. The fact that they're going to be available from the very beginning, as we can see in the previous screenshot what exactly Overtyrant did, this is going to be quite interesting because it's going to be quite powerful. These join in his bespoke big names, Shockingly Obese, Gatecrasher, Trade Lord, and Horde Master, in making Greasus a truly unique character on and off the battlefield. A final important note is 3 further skills, all involved with camps. The final one, known fittingly as the best camping, increases your camp limit by 1. This gives Greasus unique access to more raiding posts, more places to refuel his army, and more meat. Oh, okay. Yeah, this kind of makes sense. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I like this. Now, we have another screenshot, and this one's really curious because this is Greasus and his starting army. A unit of Noblars, a unit of Sabercats, and 2 Ogre Bulls. I don't know, I was kind of expecting at least an Iron Gut unit, considering that his faction trait focuses around that. I mean, it's not bad, all things considered, because you get some Sabercats that are fast, you get some Noblars, which are a basic tar pit, and obviously 2 units of Ogres, the standard ones. These are the ones without any additional hand weapons or shields. But, I don't know, it's a bit lackluster. But it's all doom and gloom, as we do have some information regarding his start position. Greasus starts, understandably, at the Great Hall of Greasus along the Ivory Road. This is central on the map and borders various other Ogre Kingdoms factions. Also in the region is an at-war Ogre Kingdoms faction cross clubs with settlements to the north and south. The final settlement in the province is seemingly abandoned, but closer inspection will reveal a Skaven hideout. Taking out the first army of the cross clubs and then conquering their 2 settlements and the province is your normal start. From there you have quite a lot of options, with the first decision being how friendly or otherwise you will be with your ogre neighbours. You've got big bonuses to potential alliances and confederations down the road, but crushing them beneath your heel is just as effective. Whichever route you pick will leave you with several immediate options for expansion. The winding and spindly nature of the province leaves your settlement spread out and somewhat far-flung, but that also means lots of borders, dwarfs, orcs, further Skaven, paths to the Cafe borderlands, and lots of ogres surround you. The bigger question is which major power to go after first: demons a few provinces to the north, Cafe awaiting to the east of the map, or Kislev in the Middle West. Greasus' starting stat consists of himself, 2 units of Ogre Bulls, 1 unit of Noblars, and a single Saber-Tusk pack. Not exactly a humongous honor guard, but it's worth noting that Ogre armies can immediately lower their global recruitment duration to 1 turn for basic units thanks to offerings to the Great Maw, making it easy to recruit 5 units a turn after the initial engagement. It might be worth aiming for a hunter early to quickly take advantage of the free Saber-Tusks. Okay, this isn't too bad. In fact, if that's going to be the case, then you're going to end up with a 10 stack really quickly. Alright, I take back my initial complaints regarding the starting army. And now we move on straight to Skrag the Slaughterer, which, again, we have the faction selection screen with him as the main focus. We've actually got the faction effects and the lord effects here, so let's talk about them now. Faction effects first: campaign movement range plus 10% for all characters. Hero capacity plus 1 for butchers, and hero recruit rank plus 2 for butchers. Well, we know that this is going to be a very good spellcaster based army, and we already know where he's starting from a previous post, so this is actually really going to help, so yeah, I'm all for this. Now, lord effects are quite interesting. Casualty replenishment rate plus 8% for Gorges units in Lord's armies, and upkeep minus 50% for Gorges in Lord's army. Now, not bad. Hopefully that means that he can recruit them from the beginning. Maybe that is actually later on in the blog, as I'm reading it for the first time as I'm going over this for the video. But he does have less lord effects than most other lords, so it would be helpful. So let's talk about the Disciples of the Maw faction effects. This split represents the two definitive halves of Skrag's existence. There's the Wanderer, who will drag his army across half the world to enact revenge, keeping them fed, watered, and ready for battle. Anyone with some playtime in Total War will know just how powerful additional movement range on the campaign map is. Yep, it's true. Then there's the pure power of the Maw that Skrag evokes, drawing spellcasters of all shapes and sizes to his side. As a refresher, butchers can bring either the Law of Beasts or the Law of the Great Maw with them, and have access to replenish troops, cleanse corruption, steal technology, wound, and hinder replenishment actions and effects. They also have a series of ogre-specific skills that improve each of those by another significant margin. Okay, sounds great. Still, I'm not a fan of the Law of Beasts. I don't think a lot of people are. It would have been nice to have the other laws, but I guess maybe in a future update. Next we have the legendary lord effects. Not exactly a ton to explain here. Gorges are Skrag's most loyal followers, tempted from the Mountains of Morn by promises of slaughter and victory. They will also swarm in packs to help him, and care little for gold as a reward, so long as more tasty treats are promised. I really hope they can be recruited at least very early on, just from his faction specifically, with other ogre factions taking of course a little bit longer, but it just kind of makes sense for Skrag, especially with the bonuses. Okay, so we've got his skill tree, and it's only set on the big name section, so we can't really see too much. Again, the stats are always subject to change. There are 4 different names that Skrag can take, and all of them are quite good to be honest. The first is Maw That Walks, that increases Winds of Magic Power Reserve +2 per turn for Lord's Army, and meat provided by camps +50% for Lord's Army. I must admit one thing is it's really hard to see this, especially in this light. The second is Gore Harvester, which I guess he starts off directly because he's only level 2, and that increases meat generated +2 for Lord's Army. Then it's Ever Famished, which is meat provided by camps +25% for Lord's Army, and meat gained from battles +10% from Lord's Army. And lastly is World Swallower, diplomatic relations +20 with all factions, which, yeah, quite interesting, I wasn't expecting that, and campaign movement range +8%, so he'll be able to move around a lot more. All of them sound quite interesting, it's just really depending on what you want to use. Since you start very close to the Empire, you're probably going to want to use World Swallower a lot, so you can just move from province to province, but then again, that's just me, so you could have something else in mind. Okay, so we have a little bit of information here, as well as the normal sets of caster trees and the entire lore of the Great Maw. Skrag has access to some unique powers that make him an even better army commander and a deadly melee participant to go alongside with his powerful spells. They include the Maw of Feast, cost reduction for offers to the Great Maw, Gorger Onslaught, summon a unit of Gorgers into the battlefield. Awesome. Whirling Stump Blades increases melee attack and weapon strength. Driven by Visions, further campaign map movement range increases. He's going to move around a lot, I'm imagining, and that sounds cool. These join his big names, which you can see above, we've already seen that in the previous screenshot, and are significantly powerful for keeping Skrag's army stocked with food or improving his casting abilities. It's worth noting that between his faction effects, big names, skills, and hero effects, Skrag can really be sprinting around the map. That's what I want to hear, because I want a movement-heavy ogre army. This is as useful for running down enemy armies as it is going between provinces, and with the ogre's constant need for meat, the quicker they get somewhere, the less they'll consume on the journey. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Now, as the both, I might be more interested on Skrag than I am Greasus. Obviously, we'll all differ with this, but I like fast-moving armies, so this kind of works for me. Next we have Skrag's starting army, and it's again very strange. It's obviously just a Noblar unit, a unit of Gorgers, and 2 units of Bulls. It's weird because weren't all the other races and factions of Warhammer 1 and 2 didn't they have like more variants? Or am I just thinking of things up right now? Either way, it's not bad, and you start with Gorgers, which is obviously great, but I would have gone with 2 units of Gorgers and 1 unit of Bulls. We have a little bit of information here, so let's just cover that quickly. Skrag begins far-flung from just about every other legendary lord in Warhammer 3, with a settlement in the southern Grey Mountains tucked into the southwest of the map and beginning a campaign of slaughter against the dwarfs of Karak Ziflin. They control 2 settlements to the west of Gristle Valley, and then have a further settlement in the northern Grey Mountains. Naturally, they also have a starting target army on one of your borders. This is the basic one that you get your first level up from. Of course, what's truly interesting about this start is to the north of Gristle Valley is Reichland and the Empire. Midland, Marienburg, and many more are all in the vicinity, and at least one will need to die to allow for your expansion. Naturally, they can also have juicy contracts on one another to give out, and you could always give up on them and take your army further afield for the lands beyond. Kislev and the Chaos Wastes call, banging down a few ogre camps in the rich heartlands of human civilization on the way could pay itself in raiding loot. Assuming you deal with the dwarfs and abandoned settlements in the northern Grey Mountains first, there is only one way to go, north and east, but it's your choice on how you conduct yourself. Beyond Marienburg is the Witch's Wood and Laurelon Forest, home of the Wood Elves. This is a new Wood Elf camp too, I'm assuming. The Witch's Wood, not Laurelon Forest, we've already had that. And then is the Sea of Claws, and the passage to Kislev and the Chaos Wastes of Norska, the warriors and the demons. Skrag's starting stack consists of himself, 1 unit of Noblars, 2 units of Ogre Balls, and 1 unit of Gorgers. It's a strong start with Vanguard deployment, high speed, and unbreakable Gorgers, faring well in early fights against slow, squishy dwarves and Skaven. However, you will need to quickly place a camp and find a good region to raid and pillage so you can grow this army into one capable of completing contracts and facing the Empire or worse. Well, it makes sense. Both of them sound pretty cool. I'm going to admit it, I'm more interested in Skrag. It just sounds like a really cool start, though Greasus sounds fun too. It's really hard to pick, but I guess I'll just do like a little bit of a dice roll before I have my first playthrough with the ogres. That kind of makes sense. What are you guys more interested in? Which one sounds more fun to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Ogre for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.